Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday, August 9th edition of Voices of the Alternative World. This is show number 477 if anyone wants to listen later or listen. I'll give the number out for replay. It's 641-715-9813, access 883-267#. And we are in a very powerful time right now known as the Lion's Gate. And I will talk about that, explain that a little bit more in a little bit. And we did have a guest scheduled, Beldon Gelff. We don't know if he's going to be here. We haven't heard from him lately, but we'll see if he comes on in a little bit. So I guess now I will invoke the law of one, embrace the world with healing energy as we open up to this powerful energy that's coming in right now. We are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am one with all. I ask that only that which is the highest good of all happen here and now and throughout all time and space, and I give thanks to this be done. So be it. And so it is.
Amen.
Amen. Thus it be. Now, Elizabeth, do you want to read your thing now, and then I'll play. I want to play a song from the One World Family Commune, which, in anticipation of Beldon being here, I decided I would play one of these songs, and even if he isn't here, we can still play it. So, okay.
I'm looking for it still. Gosh darn it. So go ahead and go with your Lionsgate stuff first.
Okay, well, Lionsgate is it was known as the Egyptian New Year, and it is a time when the Earth and the Sun line up with Sirius, and the pyramids are aligned with the Orion's belt, and this has been recognized from way back in antiquity. And right now it's especially powerful because of the energies that are coming in, the powerful energies that are coming in at this time. So we can make use of this along with everything else that's going on. And of course, it's in the sign of Leo, the lion, the astrological sign, hence the name Lionsgate. And it's aligned with the numbers 8/8, August 8th. And the year adds up to 9, so it's 889. And of course, today is the 9th, so the energies are happening for a few days, so we're still in the cycle of it right now. So it's just part of all that's going on right now, and we just need to just do however our spirit, just go deep into our inner being and be directed to how we can best clear out whatever's coming through, if that need be, and just go for the gusto, and just know that something really special is happening. And we'll be directed in different ways, and some of us have physical symptoms we're dealing with, and which are part of this, or in addition to this, and eventually it will all clear and it will pass, and we'll just be in a new time, just a time of a new world unfolding.
Goes right with what I just found, Sonny, what you just said.
Oh, hi, great.
Can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly.
I'm on speakerphone. So life is a ride. Life is a ride. I take a step back as I watch the world as I know it collapse around me once again. I find this is never an easy process. nor does it cease to end, yet that is the blessing in itself. Hold on. The emotional body always has adverse reactions when this shows up. I know this is simply showing me my own attachment to my expectations and what I believe life should or should not be. There is certainly irony in it all, followed with a smile as I relax more, knowing that some things are just out of my control. Evolution continues in the manner in which it is meant to. I find that my mind wishes to somehow grasp it all, while my heart has already made peace. There can only be conflict when there is no balance between these two aspects of self. I know that the universe always has my best interest at heart, yet sometimes I feel anguished as if I have been left out and am no longer able to determine what may offer me the greatest opportunity in my unique path. The nature of our current expression of ego is mainly based on a sense of control. So anything that opposes that can bring forth a sense of discomfort initially as the tides of change roll in. I know that at my current human state of being, I am still working to develop and express a deeper level of intelligence. I believe my desire is no different than anyone else's in this world, which is to simply have the most enriched life experience available that also reflects my soul's purpose. There seems to be a longing that wants to know what is going on in each and every moment. This is where it can get a bit tricky because I believe it is virtually impossible to know such things, for it would defeat the reason for even exploring in the first place. I am sure that discovery would not exist. I am sure that discovery would not even exist if we already knew what any outcome would be. And this is why creation is often called the great mystery. Life is a continuous opportunity to pioneer a new frontier, to always discover something new and then even rediscover something already explored, but with an entirely new perspective. We can see this in children today as they find such joy and happiness as they play and have fun. And when something no longer keeps their interest, they move on to the next adventure. It is a delight to watch these children come back to something they have already played with now that their vantage point has changed and they have grown since demonstrating that even something that they seem to already know can actually be experienced in a completely different manner. Our modern reality has all of these qualities and even more. Our modern reality has all these qualities and even more. The very concept of having unlimited potential can be overwhelming when we have not become comfortable with navigating a reality where there is uncertainty. I believe this is how we become thrilled and excited in life because we do not know what will come, and when it happens, you say to yourself, I did not expect that at all. This touches every single sense of our being in such profound ways, which is just like riding a roller coaster. Life is full of up and downs and all arounds, and sometimes you are smiling and other times your stomach is unsettled. I must reflect on the fact that we all came here for a complete sensory experience based on contrast. I am not sure I could even imagine what our reality would be like if there was no diversity. We are each a unique expression of consciousness, having a unique experience of the world within us and all around us. Perhaps it is through this simple understanding that we can all find peace once again. Just relax and enjoy the ride. Life is a sacred experience. Rejoice in your beingness. Yours truly, Babananda Christensen. We love you. Thank you. That was a lovely writing. I love that. It hits my heart. What about you guys?
Yeah, that is very beautiful. It's a good thing to share right now with all these energies that are coming in and everybody's experiencing. So that sounded really good.
Yeah, it's happening on everywhere in all places at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's been a lot of input. There's been a lot of still a lot to integrate lately, of course, for quite a while now, but it seems to be stepping up. The intensity of it seems to be stepping up along with the challenges and needing plenty of trust and perseverance. But then when the light comes in and the inspiration comes in, it's really strong. And I've been feeling so motivated with this music thing, and I've been collecting. Oops, now maybe that's Beldon.
Sonny, I wanted to share that really quick. Let's check and see if it's Beldon. I broke a code. I wanted to tell you my code I broke. Go ahead.
Oh, you would like me to continue talking about what I was...
Well, is that Beldon?
Beldon? Who just came on? Joan.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hi, Joan. Hi, Joan. Good to hear you. Yeah, our guest isn't here, but that's okay. Beldon's not
okay,
here.
here's the code I broke, if I can explain it.
So, okay.
You were just describing that, you're just having a good time, having happy every day and enjoying life, and you ran on this music thing. I think I started that with you, and now you're like you're ready to get off your chair and make something or create something, whatever it is, in the physical realm, spiritual realm, whatever. So here's the code I broke, I think. Well, maybe somebody knows already, everybody. We know it already, but it's just nice to come back to it and think about it. When you want to do something and when you're getting an itch like you do, like you just explained, Sonny, the first thing you got to do, it's a cycle like nature. You got to get in your happy place. Don't do anything unless you feel like it. Unless it feels good. You're always, if you can still yourself a little bit, you are always asking yourself, okay, should I go do dishes? You can notice your question to yourself, and then you go do it. But this time, slow down, ask yourself the question. If it doesn't feel good, you feel it in your heart, don't do it. Just do something that's happy. So you spend time doing that, and then all of a sudden something comes along, somebody says something about music, and then you start researching it and all that, and you're still in your happy mode, and you build up your vibrations in the happy mode and relaxing mode, peace mode, and then all of a sudden, boom, that creativity comes, and there you go. You're running with it, and you're planning stuff or whatever, Yeah, and so that's the code. You got to get happy. You got to get in your warm, fuzzy place on purpose. Do it on purpose. So like with your music,
Oh, yeah.
When you want to create something, yeah. So anyway.
Well, and that's what I certainly prefer to do with my time when I'm home here, is follow that inspiration. And I'm just recording music off my vinyl albums, just digitizing it. That's what I've been doing. And that some of it's largely Donovan and George Harrison's music has been really prominent for me these days. They're back in the 60s, but they held such spiritual messages. A lot of their music was just, right on with their spiritual messages. So I've been inspired about that. And anything else that inspires me, I'll certainly go with that too. Hello.
Hi, this is Beldon. I'm sorry.
Oh, hi.
Hello, Beldon.
Hello.
Hi,
You're wondering if you're going to be here. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, so carry on and I'll chime in.
Okay. I was just talking about my inspiration with music lately, and then we were talking about the Lionsgate energy that's current right now, August 8th, 9th. It's an ancient thing that's now powerful in these times. And I was going to play a Quasar song, because of you being on and everything.
Oh, good.
I was going to play that. So maybe we should go ahead and do that, and then we'll let you carry on, Beldon, what you're inspired to talk about.
Idea.
Yeah, let me just get this queued up now. It's on the CD, so I'll have to hold on a second.
Okay.
I could play the first.
Talking about music. Back in the Stockton, when we did the Whole Earth Festival in Davis with all the things we built for it. Anyway, I was helping people with their homesteads out in San Andreas and Cedar Creek Land Trust. And during that time, they made a terrific miniseries production on TV called The Winds of War by Herman Wouk. And it was so captivating that I would, wherever I would be, I would find a place where I could watch the next show of it. Anyway, it's like Robert Mitchum's great opus performance as Commander Pug. Anyway, his last name slips by, but anyway, it's quite a it's a work of fiction with the historical background. But the reason that I'm talking about it is the music to it was extraordinary, haunting music. It was just marvelous. So anyway, I got the I've been watching the series of it on DVD. There's 6 discs for the whole series. It's called The Winds of War. I recommend that you go to the library and go through it. There's a lot of information about the propaganda and the war strategy in World War II. Anyway, go ahead, play the music, and if you want, we can talk about that later, because it was an epic TV show.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to start the CD, and I think I'll play If It Wasn't for Money, since it's the second song on here. I won't have to go through too many other songs to get to it. So hold on.
Can you turn up the volume?
Yeah. How's that?
Better.
Good. sound okay?
Well, it's a little.
That's. I'll turn it. I'll quit it. I'll turn it down now and stop it. Yeah, that's. It's hard
clear,
to
and but I'll tell you, one of my favorites was Leo Ferro's. I thought it was like his great opus.
Life Celebration. I remember you told me.
Yeah, let's join together in life celebration.
Mm-hmm.
One family, one nation, amongst all the stars. Stand up right now in this time of time. Be born again, and the sun will shine. Yes, the sun will shine. And it goes on like that. And then it changes into a drum beat. The first time I heard it was in the Greek theater up on Mount Tamalpais. It was like a spaceship came down, and we, the beings in the spaceship, started singing that.
I wish I had a copy of that. Yeah. I don't have that one, but maybe it's
well, you have to. It's time to trace things down.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I've been getting strong messages about the University of the Universe, and so I'm making that announcement for people who want to start a new kind of university that's all free and gives the most extraordinary information around the globe, and we reinvent the music group and move it on to another level, and we show all the schools of experience. And I would feature my design for the communal house, built like a flying saucer. With the idea was to build a structure like an omniscient eye. So the center was a geodesic sphere, and then it had octet truss space frames forming a hexagon around it, and then everything that was necessary, required for sustainable life, was in the hexagons, in the hexagon space frames under that, and the center had a big theater in it, and it was like a recreation sphere. Anyhow, that would be fun to make a scale model of that and photograph it.
Oh, yeah. Sounds great.
Excuse me. Gabriel and Alan David and I went to Marin County when there was a Frank Lloyd Wright exhibit. And in the exhibit, there was a civic center near his Taliesin East. And and they made a scale model of it, and it was on exhibit. So the three of us took different pictures of it, and I put the pictures together. I still have the pictures, and it's quite an extraordinary structure. So it has a lot of the design spirit of the geodesic sphere with the schools of experience going around it, and that is the University of the Universe. So I'm announcing that those who are of interest and want to participate in the University of the Universe, well, the time has come to do it.
Yeah, it certainly are a lot of energies pointing in the right direction, inspiring people to do new things these days. So that was a model that was made of that house you were talking about. There was a model already made of it, and you photographed it.
Yeah, that was one of Frank Lloyd Wright's projects. It was like a it was like a great pyramid structure with a lattice It was probably like a concrete lattice hexagonal forming like a pyramid in the center. And it was quite a piece of work. The model itself was. Anyway, the three of us took different pictures of it, and I have them.
Mm-hmm.
I have some of the pictures. One of the interior, I believe Gabriel took that, and one photograph I took, and so forth. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in the archive that's it's timeless. Like that the first geodesic dome built was in Germany, and it was a planetarium, and as I understand, it's still operational.
Yes, it's the Zeiss Planetarium in Jena.
Was it Jena?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's quite an advanced piece of work.
It's incredible. It was opened in I believe 1927, just prior.
Oh wow! Yeah. I was going to ask about the year. Yeah, that's a way back there.
And it's functioning now, and it's 80 meters across, which is 3/8 or it's about 240 feet. Diameter. Yeah.
You're talking about 1927 when it was built. One of the houses we bought was first built in 1927, and I've been tearing out stuff, reducing the weight of it. I tore out a stucco wall that was an exterior stucco wall, and it was on the interior of the structure that was added onto it. So I'm gradually uncovering the history of the building as I do different functions in it and demolition. For the past couple of days, I've been carefully taking off T&G stained pine wall, and that's over. It's a big, thick wall. There's a concrete block wall on the other side, and there used to be a fireplace there in the middle of it, in the middle of that wall, and we're going to. Then there's no way to have an operational fireplace, so we're going to tear it all apart, tear out all the bricks, and hopefully I'm going to take it down, demolish it all the way down to the foundation, and even remove that, and then that'll be what I'm getting the messages to make that the access to the underneath, to the floor underneath. We got a lot of electrical to do on the house.
I was, I don't want to be contrary, Bella, but being my background in mechanical contracting, the minute you say that something's impossible, my mind goes right at it, and I just, there is a way to introduce a fireplace, but it may not be fit with the design scheme that you desire, and I would the one design for fireplace that really blew me away. I learned about from a building contractor back in the '60s in New Mexico, and what he had basically it was a standard stick construction, framing, but he had a in the center, and it was like a large chimney, that took up a space. You could scale it down to the size of the structure, but in this particular case, it was probably a 3,000 square foot home. But in the center was this masonry brick square column that he had fireplaces inside this column that heated that column, the air in that column, and then what he would do is the the combustible gases would exhaust normally through the chimney to the atmosphere, but the heat collected in that column. He had a fan that circulated the air throughout the whole house through a vent system, and then reintroduced and then reintroduced the heat on through ducting in each floor. And he could in this 3,000 square foot whole house, if he started, and then he had an economizer that if it got too hot, it let the heat out so that we wouldn't cook inside. But literally with 2 or 3 logs in the morning, that was enough heat for the whole house for the whole 24-hour period.
Yeah, well, this is a false hearth now in our project. It must have been at one time. There's a 2-story floor where the hearth is, and the hearth is right near the entrance. And so I believe the chimney used to go up to the top of the roof of the second floor. That's gone, and all you have, and then they built onto that, so it's no longer a usable fireplace. All the brick and stuff is like a fireplace, but they probably tore out the masonry that was originally for the fireplace, so they could add a flat roof building 1-story onto it. Follow me? So you have a 2-story. So the second story of masonry is all gone.
Yeah.
So there's no way to turn it into a operating fireplace.
Yeah, there's another aspect of these chimneys. The biggest thing that I learned was we haven't even scratched the surface of using the atmospheric pressure differentials from higher elevations to move air through structures and exchange it with the earth to maintain and without even any mechanical devices. This is just using the pressure differentials from the elevation in the atmosphere to move air through structures, and the infrastructure that you have to build for that, to build these channels so that the air will flow, you're basically punching a hole through the upper atmosphere by extending the length of your stack to increase your draft, and you're actually going to be exchanging the air with the earth and either warming it or cooling it, and then introducing it into the structure. And it just, and I saw, where I saw this really demonstrated to perfection was in Arco Sante, and you mentioned that in Arizona, where this whole, they've got this whole massive column of air, and you'd think there was a fan moving it, but it was just pressure differential by creating the open.
I was at Arco Sante when real people showed up, and they were doing a documentary, which I got to observe. And when they were there, they had a helicopter there flying around taking photographs and so forth. And I gave them some of our information, and I challenged them about the commune that we had operating in Stockton, and they wanted to find out more about it, and they actually came, and for 2 or 3 days they did a program to be aired to be on the air, based on the connection that I made with them. But they never aired it. They canceled it out, and it was kind of an interesting situation that went on, and they wanted to scoop all the other TV shows because Alan Michael was going to New York to be on a TV show, and they asked him. There was some finagling around there about him not doing a show with them until they got their show out. But then they canceled out, so it all went to naught anyway.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that go to that place and they just aren't grasping what was accomplished there in its infancy. Even though it's in a very primitive state, there were some really magnificent things about that piece of architecture. You know,
Arcasante, you're talking.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
They were. I was inside, and they were interviewing Paulo Soleri about his career, and so some of the things he said. You know, he was with the Taliesin Fellowship with Frank Lloyd Wright, and they found that he wasn't. They didn't feel he was dedicated to architecture, and they kicked him out. And then he went for it, and he decided that's what his life's work would be. So that was the beginning of Arcasante and Cosante, and they did some really extraordinary structures there.
Oh, yeah.
In the earlier ones they did were really very low budget and fantastic. But that came after he had apprenticed at Taliesin and learned quite a bit from Frank Lloyd Wright before he left there, and then after that came Arcasante, and I believe he collaborated on a couple buildings with some of the Taliesin Fellowship. So that's kind of an interesting thing. I haven't been there for years and years.
There's a core group that's still trying to live by Soleri's, you know, and it really, in respects, what was one of the early intentional communities.
Is that what that was?
Quite a communal organization.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to explain a little bit about what it is or was. So it was a community, or is a community?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they had private and communal quarters and stuff like that. You know.
Mhm. And when did it flourish? I mean, when did it begin?
Let's see. You have to go library and check it out.
Okay. I just general time frame. I was just
It was in the early '60s that it was conceptualized.
Okay.
It started.
I was there in the '70s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's all. Just the general time frame.
Arcosante, Arcosante.
Okay. Yeah, I got that written down.
Yeah.
So I'll look that up.
And Soleri is the architect.
The buildings there looked. A lot of them were like half, or like a quarter of a sphere, like half of a half dome. Like they were like very theatrical in the way they looked. Like you can imagine a music group playing out, and we slept out on a platform where the structures, like you could almost draw a line through the perpendicular center of the arch building to where we were at, like being in seats.
They had
we woke up in the morning to the beginning of life at Arcosanti, and we were like in the theater observing that, and then real people came in with their helicopters and filming and all that. So it's kind of interesting because I went with this fellow Benny who had lived there, and I told him, well, I have some work to do on my international Jeep Scout. And I said, I'll call you when I'm done, and we'll go to Arcosanti. So I was working with this really great mechanic, a terrific guy, and when we finished with the Scout, I finally had a gas gauge and directional light leveler worked, and all these things added to it. I called Benny up, and then we went to Arcosanti, and when we got there, we camped out on a platform facing the shell, like the band shell structure that is like a coffered concrete structure.
Yeah, similar to the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah, it's similar to just like I said, like a theatrical thing. Anyway, that was a good experience, and that was my Arizona trip.
Mm. Well, certainly been different things happening over the years of interest like that.
Yeah, I went there, and it was a little after 2000, and there was they had a partially. It was more complete in the sense it was a more a fuller dome. It wasn't a half dome, and it was devoted for. They had designed it for acoustics, so their plan was to have musical concerts and performances within that particular structure, and then they had a pottery making place where they made their potteries, and it was also it was like
don't forget the foundry too. They made bells that they sold all over, I guess, all over the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was so the whole concept was to have a complete a harmonious community where you lived, worked, played, and meditated and created, and as part of the thinking of the New Age.
So I did a lot of photo work. And I had a 35 millimeter camera, and I shot a roll of 36 exposures of Arcosanti. And when I got back, I believe it was in Tucson. In Tucson, I went to. They had these dances. They were like called sock hops, and there was no alcohol, no smoking, and no shoes. So people would dance in their socks or barefoot. And they had people playing music and drums, and they also had several slide projectors going. So they clipped. I gave them the use of my slides, and they put together the slides that I shot along with slides that they had of Arcosanti, and they did a terrific show with that. So
they were there. It's a really vibrant community, and I don't know what the status of it's still evolving or if it's closed down. But that was 16, almost 20 years ago that I was there, and it was they were doing some exciting things, and they had some long range plans that were really incredible. Yeah,
sounds good. Well, that was a little trip to Arcasante.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's if there's anybody in the audience that would like to make a comment or ask some questions, this would be a good time. It's about 20 after 6, and we could get some other people's thoughts on what they what their the idea and the whole idea, which includes pretty much everything. There's no subject that's not worthy of consideration. So if you would unmute, just put *6 and participate. We really encourage and advocate that to make everyone a part of the program.
No response.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions for Beldon? Beldon had a rich experience over the years, lots of interesting stories to tell. And
incidentally, I'll take this opportunity since it just came to mind. I mentioned it to you, Dale, that let's get a group together and let's make a movie to be put into DVD format, and we'll call it Dome Builders. Dome Builders. And we'll make a documentary of actually building domes and outfitting them and the procedures, the thing. I have the environment, I have the tools, I have everything but the people.
Well, yeah.
So Volunteers of America, come here and restore the United States. We'll have a free seminar building and the world, making a movie.
And you know what's really interesting, Beldon? I don't know if you got the copy of the WASPy that I sent you, but in it, back in the history, way back in the history of early man, at a certain point when they were granted the character having a spiritual component, there were a group of small, and I believe the Ions, and Joan can correct me if I'm wrong here because she's more of an academic as far as the book is concerned, but the small race of people called the Ions, and they were called mound builders. And what they did is they constructed earthen mounds, and some of the indigenous tribes in the United States conform to that same kind of architecture. And you could say, in a sense, that even the Eskimo igloo is a dome, of sorts. And so this algorithm that's ingrained in our DNA to create these certain structures, just like nature has all these architectural configurations that just happen naturally as part of our being, part of our makeup, and part of that mathematical code that makes up the universe. And it just comes into existence. And I got into a discussion with you the last time I spoke about the fact that our programming, what our DNA programmed, is now, it's actually it's similar in nature to when a computer is buffering, and it's just going around in a circle, and it's in a stagnant, non-productive state. Then it's not processing information, and it's like the default position for civilization is it's buffering, and it's buffering in war, crime, and poverty, and scarcity, and it's just continually. It's a continuing circle, but it's getting wider, and the violence is greater, but it's just like we're we're stuck in this monotonous time warp. And so what basically is happening is our DNA is becoming rebooted and updated, so that we're going through this transformation. And it's interesting that Elizabeth mentioned a code, and there's an absolute mathematical certainty to the universe and how it's constructed. And this particular time and age we're going through another transition, and it's going by the numbers, and it's just it's a mathematical, it's the elegance of mathematics and the simplicity, but the fact that it can be proven. And I just did this, and I did an experiment, and we were struggling up in Colorado at the Molina Center. Maybe not the whole group, but me personally, and I know David, the executive director at the time. It was we had a lot of discussion about this, and that was to build greenhouses in areas where you've got extremely harsh, cold climates that weren't conducive to growth, and how we could create a greenhouse that would supply us with fresh greens and tropical fruits, and we basically create any environment that we wanted to, so that we would have fresh produce and fruits and nuts. And so we were struggling with this design of this thing. And I finally came up to this design, that it was basically a series of, if you can imagine, a long tray that contained the nutrients in the water, and then this long tray would have levels, and the bottom of each tray would have light emitting diodes that would provide the light, and these trays would float, and every day you would harvest 100 pounds of microgreens or lettuce, and every day you would introduce new sprouts on the other end of this thing, and it would be totally automated, and controlled by processors. A certain amount of light at a certain time at a specific, and a certain amount of water at a certain time through area, and they call it aeration, where you're not really immersing the roots in soil, but you're just introducing moisture through micro sprays, very small particles of water with the nutrients in it. And there's a company, I just Google it, and everybody can write this down. It's called Spread, SPREAD, a new way to grow vegetables. And these Japanese have developed these automated greenhouses where, for all intents and purposes, they operate themselves. And you just,
I have a question. You're talking about hydroponics, aren't you?
Well, in this case, it's aeroponics. See, hydroponics is when you're submerging the roots within the water. Aeroponics is when you're just putting a microscopic amount of moisture with nutrients on the roots. So it's not immersion, but it's just a very fine mist. If you've ever gone to a venue in the desert, they have these misters that introduce moisture into the atmosphere and actually cool the atmosphere down. And amusement parks use them, where people are standing in long lines.
Do I know about those? Let me tell you.
Yes, I do too.
In Gilroy, it was so hot there. I had a studio that I remodeled, and I take a fan and I blow it. I run a mister of water, and the fan would blow the mist into the room, and that's how I stayed cool.
Yeah, basically the same principle as an evaporative.
Cool.
An evaporative cooler.
Evaporative cooler, like a swamp cooler.
Yeah, but in this case, it's those fine particles evaporate, then you get a temperature, a drop in temperature as part of the evaporation, and here it was, and this is if you want to if you want to get into some agricultural science. And here it was exactly, and I'm not going to say exact, but these guys, these biologists and mechanical engineers and physicists actually came up with the same design. And it's like if you look over all the different continents that use the structural design of a dome and I would say. I could say, in a sense, Beldon, you could consider the arch a component of the dome because it's part of that structural integrity. The strength of an arc, and I just when I say that there is a DNA to have confidence in your own ability to create, that if you get an idea, that is a real thing. And everyone should be encouraged to use that code that is within you to be creative and have confidence in it. Naturally you have to prove that it does work, by practice. But that's where faith and courage is going to come from. And when we develop that, the solution we've been looking for is us. We are the solution we've been looking for. And
that's Misty's show on Thursdays. Nick called that "We Are the Solution."
Yeah,
yeah.
And this is developing.
Well, here's the thing. See, people are not using the full spectrum of mind available.
Yeah,
They're only using 10%. Now, the main purpose I discover a lot all the time. Incidentally, like the snub, there's two snubs, the snub cube and the snub dodecahedron. One is triangles. The snub cube is triangles spinning around squares, and the other one, the snub dodecahedron, is triangles spinning around pentagons. So you know those component pieces I sent you for the snub cube?
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at the model which I made with multi-triangles for the snub dodecahedron. The snub dodecahedron has 12 times. Let's see. It's 12 times 4 is anyway. You're talking in the neighborhood of to make it with 80 triangles. So I found that I could use that same template on the snub dodecahedron and simplify the construction. So where I had 4 triangles, separate triangles put together, now it was 1 triangle scored. So that simplified things. And anyhow, the purpose of I'm sort of getting back to the main point, is doing this geometry and getting familiar with it and having artifacts that people can build is going to open up the consciousness to use the 100% of the mind available. Then once you have that, you see, you have a power that's greater than money. Because money is only paper that you get that the government issues based on issuing bonds that are repayable with interest under usury. So that's a big racket. The government is operating a Bernie Madoff scheme, and why the government agency allow him to go on and swindle all those people of their life savings. Now, those are the people the government should bail out instead of all the big banks. So it's a big racket that screws the people and the taxpayers all the time. So why are the people so fucking stupid that they can't get a movement going to counteract that and get the government to print our United States money? What's going on with these people? Well, you realize they're a bunch of morons. You know what a moron is? So these people are morons. And we need our United States money, and I'm in a position where money is coming to me. I just go to the bank and get it out, and I have more money than I can spend for myself. And I've been doing this under what I call a government scholarship, SSA. I've been getting it for years because I told them that the whole world is fucking crazy, and I was one of the few people that had some sanity left, and I was going to do something with my sanity. And I'm doing it, and I've done it, and now I'm calling all people with some ability to come and let's build the kingdom of God. We'll do it all over the world, but I'm here in Florida now. I want to finish up this project and create a team to go worldwide, a world crusade. The Galactic Messengers World Crusade. And we tune into spaceships. We'll see spaceships and get ready for the New Jerusalem to come into orbit around the planet and teach people the everlasting gospel.
It's
all simple.
It's happening, and it's happening. Each individual at a time. That light is coming through. You know, it's the ether is not as dense as it was, and light's able to penetrate it. That's another aspect that Owaspy mentions. That there are times when our solar system goes through areas in the universe that are so dark that light doesn't penetrate, and so we're emerging from one of those periods, and there's going to be fantastic things happening. It's just amazing. That's all I can say.
Well, that's what we've been talking about here on the Diamond Network and beyond, all about what the changes that are going on, and the money system is going to fall apart the way it has been. And it's going to be replaced by something much more in service to the people, not in service to the cabal, so to speak.
And Beldon, you mentioned, you know, I don't use the word demo anymore. I use the word deconstruction, because this thing has to be, as the New Age is systematically built, this thing has to systematically be deconstructed. And it's just knowing the understanding the code, you know, so that we can use the system that exists to dissolve itself and create another one. You know, it's kind of like salmon that spawn. You know, after they lay the eggs and they're fertilized, then the old dies out, and so. We're getting out of that buffering stage in our programming. You know, we need a completely new program, and it's a beautiful thing that's happening. And what we're doing on this program is another thing. And last but not least, in answer to your desire to create this motion picture, what I want to do is work on the script with you. Because once we get a complete thought and we get a script written, then we can go seek out the funding we need. We know what the story we want to tell. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. We know how much film it's going to take, and how many people, and how many places, and what the finite costs are, and then we can go about getting funding. And so I want to work with you on that. I'm serious, because the audio-visual telling a story in film can educate literally billions of people quicker than anything else.
And now it can be disseminated through the internet. So much can go around the world through the internet. So
Beldon?
Yeah, right. I don't believe. I don't really know right now what the most appropriate technology is. For example, when we created our own TV studio with VHS cameras. We bought 3 cameras, and we set up our own studio, and we had tape recorders and all this stuff to produce tapes that went on into the public access television. It was different than NPR and the stuff they show and they call public broadcasting now. But we were on the public access TV, and we had I believe we had 3/4-inch tapes and we had 1/2-inch tape. So all that's changed. See, it's all a different game with the equipment. So all I'm saying is that I haven't kept up with it. I still have 1 camera left, and Joseph Antare has possession of it, and it's probably obsolete to do a show with. I mean, to do programming with to create tape. So we're going to disc stuff, and so anyway, I'm sending forth a message for someone who's hip to produce discs, like a master disc that can be reproduced, where we could put together. We could use archive video and so forth, and put together films that go out, or that's not. It's not film anymore. See, the words. You got to get the words right.
Well, it's just
together.
Yeah, digital imaging, like Pixar. They can recreate. They can recreate digitally a better image artificially than they can actually going out and filming it. And so it's basically you're going back into computer programming and developing. But the first thing we have to have to get the support from that digital world, people like DreamWorks and Pixar and all these people that have these capacities, is to have a script and get it on a piece of paper to tell the story that you want to tell, and you can allude to the images, and the people are out there that can create them. Beldon, that's not the problem.
Well, I have most of the script already.
Okay, well, I want to, and this is where it goes, because if I had a script in my hands, I mean, there's all these people out here in the Hollywood area that are doing just exactly what you want, and all they need is an idea, and that's within the skill of the storyteller, and
that's sort of like the storyboard that they used to use.
Yeah, well, they take when they get into the actual production, they'll have their visual artists put the storyboards together. But the first thing you have to have is that it all comes down that pencil and that piece of paper or typewriter, the written word that they can build on. Because unless they have the idea, they've got nothing. You know, all their machinery and everything else is the most powerful thing that we have is the idea. So
okay, let me explain something. The little booklet that I have isn't just a booklet. It's I do a narrative on it. So all we need to do is take the book, and I would do a narrative as the introduction. That would be the prelude, and that would open up the channels to the actual projects that we would show. And then the next part would be contacting people that I know that I haven't talked to in years, and telling them about what we're doing, and finding out if they want to participate and in what capacity, and so forth. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in that's been published, and I'm sure we can find people who are knowledgeable of it to put together quite a comprehensive project called Dome Builders. So I selected that name, Dome Builders, because it's simple, and it's not just about domes. It's the story about people who have been building them and who have the experience and the knowledge and the expertise to share. Anyway, that's
all right.
Pretty much it. You know, that's simple. And then, but you see, the interesting part about it is that you take the idea of dome builders, and then you go into the dome is a three-dimensional project process, but you can go in the dome visually and go into the fourth dimension. So once you get into the fourth dimension, that's where the magic of creativity comes in. You can put in screens and all kinds of stuff, visual experiences, and you could actually you can take any of the polyhedra and turn it into an extraterrestrial flying vehicle and go anywhere in the universe. So
well, I just, you know, my uncle through his experiences went through as he had an association with people in Hollywood that were involved in some of the animations, and these were really creative, brilliant people, and I, you know, the same thing applies today. You know, they're continuously looking for material to base production on, and this is really ripe. The time and the opportunity. You know, so what I'd like to do, Beldon, is get a script on a piece of paper that I can take to people and have them look at it, and then explain it to them. You know, I think we're preaching to the choir. I think that a lot of the movies, the science fiction movies that are on the scene today, are primitive. They have parts of a story, but they haven't got the real story. You know, and that's what.
Have you ever lived in a dome? A polyhedron or a geodesic? Have you ever slept in one or experienced it?
I have. I can't say that I slept in domes, but I've been in plenty of structures that are inside of them. I haven't slept in them, but I've gone inside of them.
I'm talking about an intimate experience with, like, building a dome and sleeping in it. Like one fellow, we built a dome and. We had built a dome, and on this piece of property there was a big party there, and he ended up making love with a beautiful woman inside the dome frame. It's a dome frame. So he had recorded an extraordinary experience that way. So what I'm asking you is if you've ever
what's the side of sleeping in a dome?
You ever sleep in a dome?
Yeah, I slept in a dome tent. That was a dome.
Okay, that'll do.
You know,
so,
and
okay, so you're in the dome, and you're looking out, and there's many different. Like I have a geodesic in front of me right now, which has 5 different equators, possible equators that could split it in half, and that's and the polyhedron is the Icosa dodecahedron. So if you can imagine yourself inside one of these, and you're looking out like the geodesic in Germany, the planetarium. So you're looking out from the dome at half of the universe, and if you were in a sphere, you could, and it were lifted above the Earth, you could actually project to the whole universe. But you'd have to go through half of it. You'd be going through the Earth to see the other constellations and so forth. So, but anyway, you're inside this dome, and now you have the opportunity to astral travel all over to other solar systems and star phenomena in the heavens. So if you're like Star Trek and that advanced, they not only could project astrally, they actually beamed the whole body up and into. So you see what I'm getting at? We're talking about the possibility of projecting out into the universe anywhere and being able to jump into a body in another solar system. Now that's a little far out, but believe me, people are not too far. They're either talking about it now or they're not very far from talking about things like that.
I say that people are talking about things like that right now. In
Did you say a lot of people are?
I say people are. I mean, as I follow the Facebook posts and what people are talking about and the various programs that I've heard and people that I've actually talked to. I mean, these things, the consciousness is opening up. I mean, it's like a birth is taking place, and we're just moving into different dimensions. 4th and 5th dimension consciousness is opening up little by little, and some more than others, and some faster than others. But I'd say once in a while I'll get a glimpse of what that consciousness is, and then I remember back when I was taking psychedelics and how I was opened up to a lot of this stuff in psychedelics, and then now it's coming slowly and gradually more as a process of just the changes we're all going through. And so anyway, I just I see it is happening, but we can't rush it any faster than it's meant to be. But yeah, those structures that are in harmony with nature structures, I can really see how they would be much more conducive to consciousness expansion and all of these kind of experiences we've been talking about that are part of, sacred geometry, as people are calling it. And there's quite a bit on the internet about that.
Oh.
Well,
I don't follow too much on the internet lately, so I'm getting a direct channel into my own headset about things of this nature.
Well, that's
and
good.
The other thing that I wanted to mention to you, Son Shayla, is when are you going to get on an airplane and come to Florida?
Can't make any plans to do that right now. It's just not.
My plan is as soon as I get my cataract operation done and I get my vision stabilized, I'm gonna pay you a visit out there.
Oh, great.
Well, good, Dale. I'm glad you could.
I'll probably come to California pretty soon. I feel Joel's been putting in building frames and putting doors in place. They're looking pretty good. He's starting to perfect his ability to do that. You know, you do one door, you learn a little bit, then you do a few more, and then you become a master at it. So he's door hanging's a little tricky. It takes some skill. Yeah, he's getting to the point where I would almost call him a master at it, because the results are excellent. He's been taking a router. You know, you put in stops like 1/2 inch by 1.5 inch pieces to stop the door. And he's been running, on one edge, he's been running the router over it in different shapes at the very end. So they look pretty interesting. Well, listen, we have a, once again, we've gone over a bit, but that's no harm. We'll close the show and continue this conversation. And I want to just thank everyone for attending, and it was great as always, and looking forward to next Tuesday, where our focus is going to be music. And I'd just like to say good night to everybody.
Yes, good night, everyone that's here, and thank you for all your contributions. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, and remember the University of the Universe, where everyone gets the proper education according to Pink Floyd. We don't need no education. And if you look at what they're saying, is that we don't need no education, but we do need leadership into the universal mind to get a real education.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what really excites us. That's what we shouldn't be doing, things that are just humdrum and boring and go against the grain. I need to be inspired.
We should be building, not destroying.
We need to talk to the permaculture people and get a group together in Florida at the property I have. I haven't seen what's going on locally that much, but because I'm so busy. But permaculture in Florida, it could really blossom, because it's great for growing. Lots of water and heat and so forth.
All right. Okay, let's end the show. And if you guys want to continue talking, I'm going to check out though now.
Okay.
A pleasure.
I'll close the recording.
I'm complete with you all, and thank you. Love from Daytona Beach, headquarters of the Galactic Command.
Thank you, Beldon. Thank you.
Sending out our love vibes all over the world.
All right.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Are you looking for healing or a change in your life to help you enjoy it more fully? You might benefit from a galactic energy reading and clearing from Chris Jacobs. Chris will work with you on a soul level to clear unseen negative influences, implants, programs, contracts, and energetic blocks. Chris Jacobs is a gifted energy healer. Contact him today at ChristopherStephenJacobs@gmail.com.